So, we got a new head coach. Yay? Welcome back to Titans PIO, preseason, in-season, off-season, Titan coverage all year round. And we got a lot to talk about today in a little short time because I don't have much time, so I'm going to try to speed run it. But the first thing to talk about is, yes, the Tennessee Titans finally have their new head coach, Robert Saleh. I hope I'm saying that name right. And I'm going to show you guys my immediate reaction to when I found out that he was the next Tennessee Titans head coach. Huh. So it wasn't Nagy. This is one of those coaching decisions where I am literally stuck in the middle. I'm being honest, I don't know enough about the guy to be over the moon or underwhelmed. I know he was the head coach of the Jets for a little bit, and I know some people say the lows when he was head coach there were not really his fault, but the highs were due to him, which I don't really trust anybody that says, oh, everything that good happened was because of this person, but everything bad that happened was not because of this person. Very odd why I wasn't at the both. Whatever. Now, personally, was I expecting a name that I knew? Someone who maybe had a better record of winning? Yes. Granted, they all went to better teams. And yes, I do understand. A lot of people are just happy because we didn't get Matt Nagy. Now, here's the thing. I have nothing against Matt Nagy because in reality, I view this hire of Robert Saleh as the same thing as this hiring Matt Nagy. Now, maybe you know more, and maybe you're saying, dude, way off base, and maybe you're saying they're nothing alike and everything. Okay, great. I don't know that. So for me personally, when I'm hearing this news, when I'm seeing this, I'm not standing there going, yay, because honestly, I don't know. To me, this is just a 50-50 hire. It can go 50% one way, 50% the other. I'm hoping, as a Titans fan, that it goes the positive direction. I do not want it to go negative. We do not need another year or two of terrible, awful football. The reality is, it will probably be better than the last 2 years. Now, granted, that's not a high bar to pass. Like, literally, this is the lowest bar in the NFL to pass. We just got to be better than the last 2 years, and you'll technically be a good head coach in the Titans fan base eyes. But that's also scary, because as Titans fans, are we going to settle for less because it was better than, well, the last 2 years? That's the question I'm having. If we're not going to the playoffs, but we're just, we're not having the worst season, we're just having a decent season, well, it's better than those last 2 years, so let's stay the course. And that's not with the coaching. This is in general, what are we going to settle for? Are we going to go for greatness? Or are we going to settle for less? Because of the past history of just not having, well, that great of a team. These are things I think about, and I know this is not very optimistic. I know this seems different than most people online. They're just shouting, yay, we did it, we got the best coach available, yada, yada. I believe they're hyping themselves up because, well, why not? This has been a terrible past 2 years. We need something to make us happy. But I look back 2 years ago when we hired Brian Callahan, and people were saying the same thing. Okay, well, not exactly. He's an offensive coordinator, and he's great with the offense, and the quarterbacks want to do great with him, or blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's like that just with defense. Oh, he's a defensive coordinator. The defense is going to do great with him, blah, 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 and he's going to be a great head coach. I heard the same thing with Brian Callahan as I'm hearing now. Now, granted, we could hire anybody other than Matt Nagy, and people would probably say the same thing. I do have some questions, though. What happened to Mike McCarthy? Really, like, what happened? Did he just say no? Did he just out and out say, forget it? It was odd it came down to these two individuals. And I will address the Matt Nagy thing real quick. Do I believe the hate on Matt Nagy is way out of proportion? Yes. But if you were one of them people saying, guys, listen, it would have been real bad to hire Matt Nagy because he was friends with Mike Bergonzi, and we don't need that look of we're just going to hire our friends around here, not the best person for the job. I get that. My hope, though, is I hope Matt Nagy wasn't the best person for the job, and because the optics it would present, we went with... My bulb's trying to go out. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is I don't know how this is going to go. First off, we know Denard Wilson is not staying. We do know Bonds Fossil is staying, and our previous offensive coordinator, which I honestly forgot his name, not trying to be mean, I just don't remember it, he's gone. So those are the coaching things right now. So that's all on the coaching side. Robert Saleh, welcome to the Tennessee Titans. Anyways, that's not the only thing happening. Right now is the championship games of the NFL playoff. Last week was a very interesting / kind of fun week. There was a lot of things that happened last week that some people would say would be very controversial. Starting off with the Bills and Broncos game, I'm not even going to touch that because honestly, I get what people are saying. Oh, the Bills fans, they just don't want to admit that that was a fair catch. Look, I'm just saying, if I was a Titans fan and that exact same thing happened to us, yeah, that was not an interception. But the Broncos get to move on, and they, with their quarterback, Bo Nix. Oh, Bo Nix is out. So the Broncos are done, and that leads us to the team that will be beating the Broncos, probably the Patriots, who had a fantastic game against the Texans. The highlight of my weekend last week, okay, maybe not the highlight, but one of the highlights of my weekend last week was watching the Texans just lose to the Patriots. The only thing, I did feel really bad for C.J. Stroud because I have nothing against the guy other than the fact he plays for the Texans. But wow, what a way to lose. Man, I mean, I would not be shocked if the Texans try to move on from him, which would be a terrible decision, a very bad mistake. But you know, I take it back. No, get rid of him, Texans. Get rid of the turnover machine. Yes, that is the solution, Texans. Send him to another division. Yes, I agree. Send him to the Steelers or something. CJ, you're welcome. You know, terrible quarterback. The worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen some bad ones. Get rid of CJ, please. But anyway, so the Patriots will be taking on the Broncos. The Broncos without the Broncos without Bo Nix. Oh, this is not looking good for them. Is it impossible? No. Is it very unlikely? Yes. So basically, it does look like the Patriots are going to win. Anything can happen, though. Of course, I'm rooting for the Patriots, just because. But if the Broncos do win, that's kind of cool. Regardless, both teams have done fantastic this year. Both teams, if you're a fan of either team, you should be over the moon. Your Broncos came this far, and if they win with a backup quarterback, then, well, I mean, anything's possible. And you would be going to the Super Bowl. And the Patriots, going from basically the Titans last year to one game away from the Super Bowl, mainly because of Mike Vrabel, if you ask me, it's great and fantastic. So congratulations to both teams because they are one game away regardless whoever wins. And then we move on from that game to the Rams versus the Seahawks. The Rams taking out the Bears. I'm sorry, Bears. That was, you know, you had a good run. You did really good. And honestly, as a Titans fan who has a #1 overall pick, who had a season that was not great the first year, it is encouraging that we too can make it to the playoffs and hopefully go deep. And the Bears did really good this year. And the Rams. And the Seahawks took out the 49ers. Was kind of liking the idea of the 49ers moving forward, but that just didn't happen. So the Seahawks will be taking on the Rams. And I said a few videos back, I didn't want to see the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Just don't really like the Seahawks. Well, guess what? Seahawks, you better win because I do not like the Rams and I do not want the Rams in the Super Bowl. So I will be supporting the Seahawks. And look, if you ask me, I think the Seahawks are a better team. I think the Seahawks will beat the Rams. I really do. So I'm not really too nervous about it. So the Seahawks have a chance this week to knock out the Rams, basically making me have a very easy, super comfortable Super Bowl. So the way I want it to be is either the Broncos versus the Seahawks, which would be a great story right there. The Broncos without their main quarterback, that is something crazy. If they could go to the Super Bowl and win, that is fantastic for them. Just the fact they could get there is fantastic. So that's a fun Super Bowl. But the one I would more likely like to see is the Patriots versus the Seahawks. What a game that could be. I think both are really great teams. And that is a Super Bowl I can just kick back, I can watch and enjoy. If the Patriots win, yay. If the Seahawks win, yay. But we will have to wait and see what ends up happening. So guys, there it is. That is the games coming up this week. That is my thoughts on the Titans' new head coach, Robert Saleh. I hope I'm saying that name right once again. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. Are you going to be watching the games tomorrow? Are you excited for our new head coach for the Tennessee Titans? Or are you a little bit underwhelmed? Do you think that this could go either way like me? Are you a little bit hesitant or maybe even a little bit nervous maybe? Whatever it is, put it in the comments below. And as always, tighten up.